connecting. Hello, everybody out there in the internet universe. I give it a second, David, just so you know, because we're connecting on Facebook, my regular page, my other page. We are connecting on LinkedIn Live. Hey, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and I think that's everybody. Hey, everybody. So tomorrow is actually National Wine Day. I did not plan this on purpose. I was not looking at my calendar, but I am talking Prosecco today. Today, I am fortunate enough to have David Noto from Altaneve Prosecco. Welcome, David. Hello.
Hello, how are you? So good to see you.
Good to see you. And we're going to talk about his Prosecco and get you ready for tomorrow. So David and I actually met years ago during Prosecco week. And so it's so good to see you again and to revisit the sparkling rosé. Hey, hey. So David, just give us a little bit about your Prosecco and actually how you got into the Prosecco business. I know it's from your family line, so give us a little bit more about you and your bubbles.
Definitely. Well, my family made wine in Italy for over 10 generations. My grandfather sold everything, so my father would go to university. In a way, force him to go to university, and my father became a world-renowned engineer building skyscrapers. And I became an engineer, and then I went into finance and decided I didn't enjoy my life as much with the stress of the corporate life and finance. And I went back to my roots. I did a little self-rediscovery, and I decided that I wanted to follow my passion. And Prosecco is my passion. I love Prosecco. I've introduced thousands of people to it before I even started the wine company. And I jumped in with both feet about 11 years ago.
Wow.
And now, 11 years later, I'm still making some great bubbly.
So wait, how did Prosecco become your passion? Not a red, like an Italian red, or why was
Funny
Prosecco?
enough, my family made red wine, not Prosecco. And my parents both love champagnes and sparkling wines. And I grew up with it. And Prosecco is much more, in Italian we call it amabile, much more approachable, easier to drink. And for young people, I don't know, you're drawn to it because it's a little sweeter, a little easier to drink, and the bubbles make it fun.
Sure, absolutely. So you are more of a higher end Prosecco. Why did you decide to do more of a higher end product versus, I mean, there's a lot of Prosecco that's like 12 bucks. I wouldn't say it's the best Prosecco. That's me. I said that. I'm the one you should send your.
It's okay.
But why did you go on the higher end?
I thought if I'm going to change my career at around 40 years of age, if I'm going to do this, if I'm not making the best, I might as well not be doing this.
I love
This
it.
is a passion project. So if I'm not doing it with full passion, I might as well not be doing it.
I like that.
So
That's good.
the idea was don't cut corners. You're not in this to make money. You already did that part in life. You're in this to enjoy your life. So not that I'm wealthy per se, but the first 40 years of my life, it was he who dies with the most toys wins. That was my MO. Make as much money as you can, buy as many toys as you can. And about 11, 12 years ago, I decided, even with all the toys, I'm not enjoying my life. I need to follow my passion. I need to enjoy waking up every morning. And what could I do that would bring this back to me? And I thought, if I could make wine, if I can enjoy the sharing of my passion with others, doing what I love to do, I would enjoy that.
Love it. So can you tell us? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I had one of these, I managed 20, 30, 50 people at times, and I was a mentor to tell them, where do you see yourself in 2 years, 3 years, 10 years? Let me help you get there. But I never did that to myself.
Right.
So
right.
I was a 10-year project 11 years ago, and I'm very happy to say that I'm where I wanted to be 10 years ago.
Wow. See, that's great. I think that's also important too. While wine is great, but that's important to follow your dreams and to go do the things that you love. So, can you tell us a little bit more about where the Prosecco is made and your team? I know you have a team of people you're very proud of.
I do.
Your website is like, I love all the people I work with and I want to meet all of them. So, could you tell us a little bit more about the area and the team of people helping you bring this to life?
Sure thing. Well, if you know a little bit about Prosecco, Prosecco comes from northeastern Italy. And there are two certifications for Prosecco. There are DOC, which it translates to mean of controlled origin, and there is DOCG, which means of controlled origin and guaranteed. And that G is very special. The DOCG wines are the highest Italian government certification of wine, and it generally means a more historically significant terroir, which is much smaller than the DOC producing regions. And if you know a little bit about Prosecco, the town, a tiny little town about half the size of Manhattan Island, that makes the renowned best Proseccos in the world, is a town called Valdobbiadene. Very easy to say when you hear it, but very difficult to pronounce when you read it.
Yes.
This is a tiny town located in the very steep foothills of the Italian Dolomites, about an hour drive north of Venice. And it has the best terroir, best soil, best sunlight, best rainfall for creating Prosecco, amazing Prosecco. So it had to be there that I had to have vineyards. And so I went there and did a deep dive and to make Prosecco DOCG wine of the highest quality.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about some of your Proseccos. You have 3 right now, and I think you're releasing some new stuff soon, if I'm not.
Yes, it's been fun. It's been a fun journey. When I started the company, my only thought was, I love Prosecco. The United States doesn't know good Prosecco. Because when you think about it, then and even now, about I would say less than 1% of all Prosecco made, I'd say close to 0.5% of all Prosecco made is excellent Prosecco that comes from Valdobbiadene. And 0.5% of all the great of Prosecco in the world is great Prosecco from Valdobbiadene. When you think how small that percentage is. And 80%, they judge that 80% of that wine is consumed within 200 kilometers of Valdobbiadene. So that means 20% of 0.5% of all great Prosecco.
Yeah, because the Italians are not sending out the good. They're keeping it for themselves. I don't blame them.
So the idea was to, I had spent a long time working in New York City, making great friends in management consulting, finance, and in New York City, and I wanted to introduce them to this great Prosecco that I would have to smuggle in my luggage for all these years to let them sample. So I thought, you know what, let me introduce my friends to the greatest Prosecco and I will make it for them.
Gotcha.
And that was the idea. And so I started with a Prosecco DOCG of super high quality, from the antique vines to the antique vineyards. Some of our vineyards are we are certain that they were making Prosecco well over 1,000 years ago. So that's cool when you think about it.
Very cool.
And one of the historical facts about Prosecco that most people don't know is not really advertised, is that Prosecco predates Champagne by about 1,800 years.
I think I did hear that once, but you're right.
200 BC, they can date Prosecco wine to about 200 BC. And it was Empress Livia Augusta's favorite wine at the turn of the first millennium. So it's really the wine of emperors and empresses. And Venetian royalty and Trentino royalty has been partying with Prosecco for over 2,000 years. When you think about that, that is spectacular. It's better than the wine of kings and queens. It's the wine of emperors and empresses.
He said that. I didn't say that. Like, they're going to get you. You're right.
Cool. So cool. So I started making Prosecco. And then I realized about 3 years in that I should expand. My love is of sparkling wine, and I love Prosecco. And two of my big clients in the United States said, make a sparkling rosé. That would be wonderful. So I made a sparkling rosé, which is exactly what you're drinking. And I had the U.S. market in mind when I created that. And it was an interesting journey, because when you think about it, who makes the greatest or the great rosé sparkling wines that we know? The Champagne region of France.
They're delicious.
So I did what all good people, all good creators do. I copied the best I could find. Or I use that as a starting point, let's say.
Right.
So the greatest rosé champagnes are made with Pinot Noir. So I started with the best Pinot Noir grape I could find in all of Italy. And it tasted very French when I made it. So by blending a little bit, just a little bit of the Prosecco de Glera that I make into the wine, you can't really taste Prosecco in the wine. But compared to a Pinot Noir sparkling champagne, it's rounder, it's softer, it cuts the sharp acidity, and it gives it a fuller body. And we found as well, it gives it a softer bubble. The bubble is not as sharp.
Right. Okay. That's what is doing it. Gotcha. Because the bubbles are a little softer. Okay. That makes sense.
But you definitely get the body, the structure, the berries, the wild berries, the mountain berries, called it the forest fruit. Maybe strawberry is the strongest of them.
Yes.
In the nose.
That definitely strawberry.
And it doesn't taste like Prosecco in any way. I found that champagne lovers tend to gravitate towards this wine over the Prosecco.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then you have go ahead.
And since then, I also decided to make, which was from the start, but I didn't release it until years after I started the company, a very high-end Prosecco, even higher than the high that you're familiar with, of which I make only 1,500 bottles every 2 years.
Oh.
And for this wine, it's a very special wine that spends over a year in winemaking.
Okay.
It's got a very lengthy secondary fermentation to give it a dryness and a complexity, sitting on the yeast a little longer. So I kind of say it's got the dryness, the depth and complexity of a champagne with the crisp freshness of a Prosecco.
Interesting.
So it's really somewhere in the middle between great champagne and great Prosecco.
Okay.
It kind of extends I would like to think it extends the boundaries of Prosecco a little bit. And then I realized in the last couple of years that to be able to market my wine, or better yet, to make any money in the wine industry, which I haven't, which is difficult to do, I would have to start making DOC Prosecco, which is the lower certification. But I realized that with my team in Valdobbiadene, I could make excellent DOC Prosecco.
Sure.
So around Valdobbiadene, I wish I had pictures to show you, but I will send you a link and hopefully you can send it to your people, your friends or followers. Around from our vineyards, you can see some wonderful DOC vineyards. And from there is where we get our DOC grapes, Glera grapes. So they have a lot of the wonderful fruitiness and complexity of our DOCG without the floral. So we make it crisper, fresher, fruitier a little bit because it doesn't have the complexity that the DOCG grapes do. But made to a high quality with a small bubble and a crisp freshness. And low sulfites, low sugars are sustainable, all natural, everything my wines are. And we just launched that about 8 months ago.
Okay, congratulations.
And only in the United States, only in New York, the states of New York and Connecticut.
Okay, I have to look for that. Don't you have something else coming out soon? Nebbiolo?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm very excited.
I
I've been researching this for a long time.
Nebbiolo is one of my favorite grapes. It makes such spectacular wine. So do tell us more about that. I can't wait to try that.
It's going to, I thought after drinking Nebbiolo, my father, born, raised in Genova on the Riviera coast, They don't have red wine in Liguria. So he's been drinking all his life. He was drinking Nebbiolo. Barbera, Nebbiolo, Barolo, Barbaresco.
All
Those
the
are his
good
favorite
stuff.
wines. Those are
All
the
the good
wines
stuff.
I was born with. Those are the wines I was born with on the table. And so Nebbiolo is really my favorite red wine grape.
Mm.
And um, fairly recently, the disciplina of Prosecco was to a Prosecco of a Nebbiolo. They allowed you to make a sparkling Nebbiolo, a
Oh,
DOC sparkling Nebbiolo, which is brand new, and that is amazing. I'm
that's
so
amazing.
excited
That's
about it.
amazing.
So excited. And they make sparkling rosé Nebbiolo, but I want to make something special. I want to make something for the red wine lovers, actually. I
Mm.
want it to have the body and the structure that I love in a Nebbiolo grape,
Mm.
so that you will have the greatness of a red wine, of a Nebbiolo wine, with the fun of the bubbles. And
Oh
I'm
my
so
God.
looking forward. We've done some testing, and I really look forward to sampling with you. It's a new experience. It's wonderful. I love it.
That
And
that to me is gonna like rock. That sounds so exciting. And you guys, that I mean, I love Nebbiolo, and that's what I use for my Thanksgiving wine. To me, that's gonna be the holiday wine, the sparkling Nebbiolo. I'm ready. You let me know. You let me know if you need a test.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. If you could sample the the little samples that we made to create it,
Oh my gosh.
so wonderful. So um, most people think I'm nuts that you want a big body sparkling. No, yes, I promise you, it's something new and wonderful. Um, I'm very much looking forward to sharing it with you and the world.
Yeah, but that's if you're gonna do it, that's the great. How do you so speaking of tasting, are you your main taster of your wines? How do you decide when it's ready? Who makes that decision?
Well, as you may know, I spend months and back and forth, months a year in the United States, trying to sell, market, create the brand and the wine company. So I have an amazing team, agronomist, and three enologists that help me in Italy. One predominantly, and two others that assist all year with me. That are I would like to think the kings of prosecco. And if you ask me, oh,
Oh,
sorry,
he's
sorry
popular.
about that.
He's
That
popular.
was a call from Italy, actually,
Ah,
and kind of late in the evening.
it
Um,
is.
yes, it is because I'm in New York right now.
Yes, yes.
Um, so my team, I have Massimo, I have Giovanni, and I have Gianfranco that help me on the team, and they do most of the heavy lifting. But of course, with the tasting and the sampling and the creating, it's hard. I'd almost say it's impossible to do as a one man team. I think it's great to get not of committee, but of experts who have been
Sure.
making great wine for a long time, for generations. It's really great to have different input from the agronomist who knows the grapes from the soil, and the enologist, the multi-generational enologist, and wine experts from all around. I think it brings with it to help guide where the winemaking is going to go, because
Mm,
everyone has their own thoughts.
yeah.
So, for instance, I know now the U.S. market fairly well and the U.S. taste profile. Italy, they want dry. Right now, especially in Vado Biadene, they want the driest of the bone dry. But you leave out a large percentage of the population, because then, if it's bone dry, it starts to get a little tart.
Yeah.
It starts to get a little, I would almost say, a little rough around the edges. Even when it's made perfectly well, it's not. Uh, the idea for prosecco, it's amabile. It's soft and it's creamy. It's drowned, and you lose a lot of that multidimensionality when it's too dry.
Mm,
So
mm.
you need a little body and creaminess to give it, especially prosecco and prosecco like wines.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
think you need a little, not a lot. My wines are not sweet. My
No,
wines are
that
on the drier side.
yeah.
But if they're too dry, you start to get an edge of bitter, an edge of a chadbo. Yeah, I guess bitterness, a little tartness. I guess tart. It gets on the edge of tart. And this wine that you're drinking, the sparkling rosé,
Mhm.
it's just short of 8 grams per liter of residual sugar. So that's 5 grams in the bottle,
Right.
5 plus grams in the bottle or so. So nice and dry, but not too dry. So you
Right.
still renders the fruit and the aromas.
Right. Awesome. So, what was I about to say? I just completely, I'm so into my glass. Where is the wine the most popular? Like, where are they drinking it the most? I'm assuming we drink a lot in New York, but where else are
Yes,
you?
but I I have a home in New York. I have a home and an office in New York City. So New York alone consumed about 90% of all my wine last year.
Oh, hey, New York! Woo!
Yeah, exactly. And funny enough, thanks to the application Vivino, uh, the other 10% is all over the United States and all over Italy, north to south, east to west. Vivino, I'm so happy to report, I guess, for the last 2 years, we've been the highest rated Prosecco in the world,
Oh,
but
wow.
in Italy and in the United States.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. So,
But so well in New York and the United, and I mean, so much in rated so highly in the United States and in Italy that it jumped to the top rating in the world.
that's pretty amazing. And we're picky in New York, and we do like our luxury items. We like to drink well. So your prosecco has been called the best prosecco in the world. So when you got that title, what were you like? Okay, I got to keep up the quality. Was that a little like, oh my gosh, or was that the best thing that could have ever happened to you?
The latter, the best thing that could have ever happened to me. My goal is to make great wine because I'm passionate about it. With research and with the doing, I take part in every facet of the harvesting, the cultivating, the winemaking, etc. And it's to share my passion. And how can you share your passion if it's not passion? If it's anything less than the best you can possibly do, in my call it humble opinion. So if the quality is not there, it's not worth doing.
Amen to that. All right, so you've got some new proseccos coming we can look forward to in September-ish. When's your Nebbiolo coming out?
Uh, it's the harvest. We decided that we're going to do it for the harvest of this year.
Okay. Okay.
We determined last year our plots. They're in Piemonte, and we had the opportunity to do it last year. And we decided we'll hold off. We'll do the testing last year with last year's harvest, and then this year will be the formal. We think it'll be ready probably by next spring.
Okay. And
Nebbiolo grape needs a little time in the fermentation to render the best taste.
we want the best from that sparkling Nebbiolo. I will wait. But your newer prosecco, you say it's already available. The more affordable.
It's already available.
Okay.
Yes, it's already available. It's available online. It's available in stores around New York and Connecticut and New Jersey, and it's got a blue label.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
So significantly, not the black label that most people are used to, and to show you, and it says it's labeled much more clearly Prosecco.
Okay.
Than other products, because it's in the same price range as the other Proseccos that you see on the shelf.
That's interesting. I can't wait to try that to see the differences in taste. I'm sure it'll be great, though. I know it'll be great. Anything else you can tell us? Any other thing launching? Any other scoops you have that you want to tell us?
I'm very excited. I just started with a new distributor importer in the United States, and I'm in talks with distributors all over the States and in several countries in Europe as well. Thankfully, to the media, I guess the great media attention we've had in the last couple of years, it's really helped us to get our name out there. So people are intrigued and interested. I just don't know how I can satisfy everyone because we make super micro production wines. and I don't plan to dramatically increase the production.
That's good.
Very soon.
No, that's good.
The idea is I want to control this production to make it great.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, as long as we can get ours in New York. But I think you would do great in Texas. I know you would, because I'm from Texas and they're starting to really get their wine put together. So that's exciting. You should go to Texas. I think they'd love this stuff.
Just a minute. I'm having doggy problems.
But I kind of want to see the dog. I want to meet the dog. I don't know. Okay. Like,
doggy number 1.
Doggy number 1. How many are there?
This is doggy number 2. Doggy number 1 is running around on the.
But doggy number 2 is like, I don't want to show you my face. It's like I'm looking away. Well, hi. You did all
doggy
that.
Number 2. Say hi. Say hi, Eddie.
Hi, Eddie. But okay. Well, David, thank you so much. What's your website for people who want to find you? How do people find?
Look for. I'm so sorry. But look for Alta Neve. Just 1 second.
The dog, Eddie decided he wanted to be the star of this live. Oh.
Okay, so Kaylee, you'll see, and if you look on our Instagram and on our Facebook, you'll see Kaylee in the vineyards with me every year.
Kaylee, Kaylee,
and Eddie is new to the team, and he was in the vineyards with us all of this past year. These are my mascots.
Yes,
these are my mascots.
Like, what about us? They wanted some screen time. It's totally fine. We love pets. And I hear you're getting married soon, if I'm not mistaken. Congratulations. I think there's a wedding happening.
Thank you so much.
You're getting married in Italy,
right?
Very excited. Yes, of course.
My fiance's grandmother is 93, and she didn't want to fly to the United States, so we're doing within an hour of her home.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, awesome. Is your fiance in business with you as well? Have you pulled her into Prosecco yet?
I have not yet, but she has an Alta Neve email address because she's even more intelligent than I am, I'd like to think, or
awesome.
I'm sure. And so I need her input from time to time. Any man who thinks he doesn't need a woman's help is not a smart man.
If you take anything else from this, that last statement was it. Thank you so much, David. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And don't forget to check out this Prosecco. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. Bye-bye.